And also too with AI, which is changing everything all the time, like most people and most systems in higher education are purely reactive to what's happening with AI. We're not leading the charge really. Certainly not at the individual faculty member on odds because we're too old and aren't hip and with it with all the ever evolving AI things. So we're being reactive to a technology that not all, but a lot of our students are utilizing that cause us to react to it. A lot of times we think about it in terms of just like cheating or academic dishonesty. So using AI to generate whole papers, having open Claude derived software complete an online asynchronous Canvas class for you automatically in 10 seconds. Like, that is happening all the time and increasingly more so. So to have students who are in that world, maybe or maybe not utilizing those tools in those ways, but they're aware of it far more so than most instructors are, to say like, hey, you have this term paper at the end, that's not going to do what you think it's going to do because a lot
Mhm.
of students are going to use AI to do either write it outright or do these various things to build up that paper so that way the product doesn't represent what you instructor thinks it does.
Yep.
And that's been really helpful too for a lot of my colleagues who cherish aspects of their courses to think deeply about, does this work anymore? Can this
Right.
work anymore? And
Yeah.
I think increasingly the answer is no, or not in the way that you think it does anymore. And
Right.
that's been hard for a lot of people to deal with because, the audience knows, and we're like an oil tanker in the ocean. It takes a long time to
Mhm.
change. And this is rapid fire, right angle, high pivot changes that we cannot do. We're not equipped for,
Right.
and it's a huge existential challenge for what we're trying to accomplish as educators to prepare the next generation of people to lead this country.
Right. Yes, that's where the authenticity really comes into play, right? And allowing us to be able to, as I mentioned earlier, think outside the box. Because, like you said, those term papers, they don't hold the same meaning they used to to hold. Yeah, especially now with the technology and AI. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we
and I
have
mean,
to really rethink it, right?
yeah, I mean, but
Yes.
like writing
Reimagine
well
it.
is still incredibly valuable because writing well is thinking well, and
Right.
write a paper is a product of creative thought, and that critical thinking, creative thinking are the same thing. Like that's hugely important, ever more so now with AI. So the paper doesn't exist. The paper doesn't do that anymore. I don't really think it does most of the time. And
Yes.
maybe if it does, instructors are often too under resourced to meaningfully assess a paper anyway. We have too many papers, not enough time. So like,
Yes. We
but the
skim it
thing is still important. Yeah,
sometimes.
right. I mean, like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
something. This isn't my idea, so I won't take credit for it. But I can't remember who said it. It was like, so intelligence is not as important as it used to be. And I'm not saying like being smart isn't important, but like the concept of intelligence, knowing stuff. The internet can do a lot of that now. So like, what can a human do in this era of ever-changing tools where intelligence becomes devalued? And it's having wisdom, which is intelligence with experience. That is where I think our learners can be well positioned for jobs that we cannot even imagine in 5 years because wisdom is an inherently uniquely human thing. Knowledge, the existence of knowledge, is not human. It's derived by humans, but it is just a thing that exists on a chip somewhere in a data center. That's where knowledge exists now. But the wisdom to use that knowledge and to interpret the knowledge or to have information literacy skills to determine which knowledge is worth calling knowledge and which is worth deleting, that is born from wisdom. So, how can we change our knowledge economy in higher education to a wisdom economy? And that's hard to do because that is an entire flip flop change of how higher education has been structured since, I mean, forever, but like since Harvard Divinity School gave their first degree in divinity in the 1600s. It's been that sage on the stage model. And Technology has flipped that upside down, yet not all of us, but a lot of us are still clinging to that antiquated model that I don't really think serves our learners well for jobs 10 years from now, because we do not
Right.
know what those will look like.